Buenas and Hofidi, the Committee on Infrastructure, Economic Development, Simon Sanchez High School, Disability Services, Self-Determination, and Historic Preservation Housing, Public Accountability, and the Guam Bureau conducted its informational hearing back from recess. It is currently 2:11 p.m., Thursday, October 10, 2024. Thank you to those who are here with us today in person and those watching virtually. We appreciate your time and presence again with us virtually. As a reminder, this informational briefing was called to order at 2:05 on Thursday, September 12. Unfortunately, we had to postpone it because we had session. Notice of this hearing was provided to senators, stakeholders, and the local media on September 5th, satisfying the 5-day notice, and September 10, 2024, satisfying the 48 hours, thus meeting the requirements of the open government law. In addition, the notice of this hearing was also posted on the Guam Legislature's website and the Guam Public Notice portal. Materials for this hearing were shared to the committee drive and are available for printing upon request. Recording of today's hearing will also be available and online on the Guam Legislature's media on YouTube. For signing convenience, there's a QR code on the front entrance. I would just like to welcome each and every one of you for joining us again today. Unfortunately, it is only me. Hopefully, I'll have some colleagues joining me in a little bit. I'd first like to put some general rules of conduct for those in attendance. The conduct of this hearing shall be as follows. Individuals speaking shall only use respectful and professional language and conduct. Personal interference about the character or motive of any senator or any individual is not permitted. The chairperson of the committee may order the removal from the hearing of a committee or subcommittee of any person who is not a member of Leas Drangohan and who fails to observe proper decorum according to the 37th Guam Legislature Standing Rules. All must abide by these rules of conduct and for quality assurance standards. At this time, we ask that you place your mobile devices on silent just to respect everyone here. Before speaking, please introduce yourself by stating your name, job title, or organization you wish to represent, or yourself. Thank you for your understanding and consideration. The purpose of this informational briefing is to discuss the updates on the reconstruction of Simon Sanchez High School and the road safety around the island. Let's begin with the discussion on the first item on the agenda, which is the updates to the reconstruction of Simon A. Sanchez High School. Invitees included DPW, GDOE, SSHS admin, GITA. So all parties are present except for Sanchez leadership. So I did speak with them. They are just waiting for their school to be rebuilt and just want the updates as much as myself. So I'll let DPW take the way right now, and you can provide an update on the current status. And sorry about that. You can provide the update.
All right. Good afternoon, Senator. My name is Vince Ariola. I'm the director of the Department of Public Works. With me is our Deputy Director, Linda Ibanez, and we will do the presentation on the reconstruction of Simon Sanchez High School. I believe as part of the agenda, you asked for a portion there on the financing and the bids and any MOUs that are going to take place. And I believe Tina Garcia from GITA will handle that portion. Okay, so if I can begin. Do we have the PowerPoint up?
Stand by.
Okay, I'll start. I'll start with the construction team. Basically, the construction team is going to be made up of the Department of Public Works, ourselves. We'll handle the contract and construction administration. Of course, there's the Guam Department of Education that they'll function as the owner's representative. GITA will handle finance, as I just mentioned. The architects are Taneguchi, Ruth, and Makio Architects. They're the designer of record. SSFM International, they're the newly brought on construction manager. And of course, we'll have legal counsel representative from the Attorney General's office. And as I understand, GITA has their legal counsel as well as bond counsel if needed. Rob, if we can just skip to the next one, page 4 or 5. By the numbers, next one. Thank you. Just a few by the numbers. We're looking at the new Simon Sanchez High School to be about 300 square feet in building space, usable space. capacity for 1,900 plus students. We don't want to build and then all of a sudden find ourselves short. This number of 1,900 students is, we got this from the principal, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. They're planning also for 100 classrooms as part of the design. And right now, our estimated budget amount is 166, or should I say that 166 was part of the public law. If I can just take you through some of the building design itself. Next slide. This is an overhead view of the design itself. You can see there's a courtyard, and the campus basically surrounds the courtyard. So there's very good access, there's very good ingress, there's very good egress. And like I said, the whole campus itself takes up about 300,000 square feet. Next slide. If you look from the first slide, there are actually 3 wings for classrooms. This is a wing that'll house a number of classrooms. The next slide shows the B wing, which is, as I understand, across the courtyard, and then the C wing. Next slide. You'll also see there's a full-service gymnasium that's part of the campus. Next slide. Then next to the gymnasium, you'll see the main office, administrative offices, and then that sits in between the auditorium and the gymnasium. Then on the back side, you'll see you'll have the cafeteria and the JROTC offices. So it's a pretty tight campus. The design took quite a while. I'm very pleased with the design. The next slide, you'll see these are just some of the walkways and the awnings that the students will have to go through to get from classes. That, like I said, it surrounds the main courtyard. There are high, tall ceilings, very wide, open hallways, lots of landscaping. And then let me take you to phase 2, which is this is a site plan for phase 2, which, as I understand, takes into account a track and field, football field, which is at the upper right-hand corner. And if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, there's allowances there for a shared multi-purpose field. I think that was supposed to be in conjunction with FBLG, which is the school right next door. And then, of course, you see we don't know if it's still there. Before construction, we will check and double check whether that snail habitat is still there. We're going to need full, permit and clearance before we get there. So yesterday we had our first kickoff meeting with the construction team. And we plan to have these meetings weekly, as we all know the rush to get through here. Problem is, we can't build this in a day or two, right? This is going to take a while, but we will do our diligence and our best efforts to meet as long as it takes to get this through. The main goal, the fastest thing that we want to do right now is we want to get to the bid stage, the RFP stage. We want to get all the documents together. We want to clear the permitting. We want everyone to agree on the design, on the classrooms, number of classrooms, the FF&E, and so on and so forth. So our goal really is to get to the RFP stage. Once we get to that, assuming there aren't any protests and things move smoothly, I think we can really expedite and start moving faster on the construction. The other thing that we really want to do with our construction team is we want to make sure that the RFP is rock solid. It's clearly defined. All our expectations are in there. They're reasonable. They're fair to all the parties who are going to take part in this effort. So we had an initial kickoff meeting yesterday. It went very, very well. We will have weekly meetings thereafter. so throughout the next couple of months, we'll be gathering data. As I mentioned, we're going to accelerate our meetings. The main issues we're going to be doing is in-depth review of the design and of the plans. I mentioned that's one of the purposes of bringing on board the construction manager, constructability assessment, various methods to construct. We're looking for efficiency, resiliency, things of that nature. We're also going to do an operations and maintenance assessment. This definitely has to be part of the school. As you've seen, in most, if not all, the lease schools, that's a big part of the schools, and it's definitely one of the issues that's always lacking in a number of our GovGuam buildings and schools. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we want to develop the RFP for the construction and financing. We will be accelerated, but we have to do this at a prudent pace. We have to be diligent. We have to be forthright, and we have to make sure that what we're doing is correct, and we don't get any hiccups as we proceed. If you'd like, I can stop there and ask Mrs. Garcia to talk about the financing portion.
Thank you, Director.
For Sanchez, while we're on it.
Yes, can I just get clarification on what the roles are and responsibilities of each party being present today, since you're the tip of the spear for this project? Can you just clarify everyone's role moving forward with the construction of Simon Sanchez?
Sure. DPW, as per the public law, we are going to act as the contractor, if you will, for the government. We'll handle contract and construction for this. GDOE, of course, is the owner of the building, so to speak. We are building it for them. The Guam is building it for them. GITA will handle all aspects of financing. The way I understand, and Mrs. Garcia, Tina will explain further, we will release proposals looking for companies, consortiums that will finance and construct the facility, the school. Once they build it on their dime, once they build it, they will turn around and lease it to us. And there are, if the law, I believe, has a maximum on the lease amount. So GITA will handle the financing portion, and and she'll talk about it. I don't want to take away from her presentation. Then, of course, we have the architects. The design and the plan is 100% done. That's not to say that there won't be any changes. As I understand, some of the plans have already gone out for pre-permitting review. They're at some of the government agencies. I think the ones that are going to be really more diligent in the review, it's going to be, of course, ourselves, DPW, reviewing but that's why we have the construction manager on board. Then, of course, you have EPA. Agriculture shouldn't be much of a problem because it's on clear land. Guam Fire Department is gonna have a really long look at this project also. And then, of course, we have SSFM. They are our construction manager. They will act as the government's agent. And as I mentioned earlier in previous public hearings, they will act as our agent representing us. They will do design review, plan review. They will look at the constructability of it. They will look for efficiencies in the construction. They will help us. They will help us develop the RFP that will go out as a proposal. They will, I think, one of the major major issues that they're going to be handling, of course, is once we get into construction, they will be on the ground with the contractor, making sure and ensuring that what we've approved in the design and in the plans gets actually built by the contractor. They'll be with us, and when it comes to permitting, inspections, invoicing, the whole gamut, if you will. And then, of course, we have legal. We've included a legal counsel. Assistant Attorney General was with us on the call as we start the process. We don't want to miss any step in this process. As I said earlier, we want to make sure we issue an RFP that is rock solid in all the terms and parameters.
Thank you for that information. I think this will be posted to the superintendent later. But Ms. Garcia, you may proceed.
Thank you, Senator. My name is Tina Garcia, Public Finance Manager at the Guam Economic Development Authority. The authorizing legislation here has given us a couple of parameters to follow in financing. First, we have a maximum bond borrowing amount of $166,365,000, and that's to cover borrowing for the construction and the development costs. The other parameters that we have to come in at an interest rate, a borrowing interest rate of 7.5% for no more than 30 years. And finally, we also have a cap on the annual appropriation amount of $16,377,125 per year. And this is to cover the pre-development stages, the construction, the leaseback period, as well as the annual insurance and maintenance. So when we come in with DPW in the development of the procurement, we're working with them on three different parts. First of all, we're looking for a developer that has the ability to finance this project within our parameters. So that developer has to have an underwriting team with them already. They have to prove that they have been to the bond market and that they're familiar with lease financings, and that in fact we hope that they have some background in building schools and ensuring them and monitoring them, maintaining them. Secondly, so that's the financing. Second is the ability to construct. So when they come in with their construction, we are going to work with DPW again to make sure that they have the construction team in place. They have DPW has their standards of requirement for contractors, their ability to bond and so on. So that will be their area of advice on that. And then the third part, learning from what we've done in the past, we want to make sure they have the ability to obtain insurance and provide maintenance. And what we will do to that is we'll say, here is an example of the insurance and maintenance agreement that we have with JFK. For JFK, we require them not only to provide a daily maintenance, there's a schedule of daily maintenance monthly, and then we also require them, for instance, to hold a $5 million capital improvement fund, because every 5 years we want them to paint the building. We want them to change out air conditioners, as needed. So we want to make sure that they're building for us, they're maintaining the building, so that at the end of the term of 30 years, that building comes to us in very good condition. We've seen this, for example, the Court of Guam, Supreme Court, their USDA loan had required them to also have an insurance and maintenance fund, which is why you see that building, even after 20 years plus, it still looks pretty good. It's holding up. And so we look at all of those parts, and then we help to evaluate the proposals, and then after a developer satisfies all three areas, we will then work with the developer to ensure that they are providing the best financing proposals for the government. We're making sure that they are within the $16 million to provide not only a leaseback payment, but an annual budget for insurance and maintenance. We're looking at them to be able to properly sell the credit of Guam, because ultimately it's the government of Guam that's backing the financing. And so we want to make sure that their proposal is consistent with what we know that we've been doing in the bond financing market, which includes going to the rating agencies or, and even going out to the market. Some proposers may offer other financing structures. They may say, hey, I can do this with a, quote, direct placement with a bank. And what that means is that they already have a bank that can do the financing for them. So we have to go through and vet that bank, make sure that they are going to be able to, again, meet certain capital requirements. We agree on the drawdown schedules, we agree on the payment plans, we agree on other things. So that's what the financing, that's what it takes for the financing. Going backwards, though, after they award the project, we have to go through DPW has to go through with the developer a discussion on what the actual project is going to be. And so it's called, they have to sign off on a project development agreement, of which, again, based on that, the developer will then say, okay, I'm going to go out to the market. I need $150 million for the construction. So then we will work with them to make sure that, again, they fall within the interest rates and the annual payments that this legislature has provided for us. The end.
Thank you so much. Just to clarify, did we have any issues regarding Typhoon Mauer recovery with some of the leasing schools facilities? I just want to clarify that that's been amended and it's rectified, so it shouldn't become an issue in the event we successfully lease the school back.
Senator, we live and learn. When we did our very first leaseback financing in 2006, again, it was a new concept for Guam as well as for the market. And when we were trying to provide the best financing for the government, the agreement for that company for insurance and maintenance, which we accepted, was they were going to have, for the 4 schools, almost like a $1 million deductible or something, and then it's, quote, the government of Guam will quote, work with them on whatever else is needed. It was interesting because, again, the company that we awarded had done schools. They came in and said, you know, we've done this. We've done it for Florida, which has a very, very similar environment, weather issues as Guam. And so, you know, we worked out that deal. And then we came to, you know, then we began to understand. I mean, a lot of things worked. You know, when there was vandalism, they were able to fix it right away. When there was security breaks, they were able to either hire security or bring in cameras. So a lot of things worked. The typhoon issue had come to light with Mauer, and so we really saw the difference between what was in the initial leaseback and then what was in the consequential JFK leaseback. So again, we've improved our product, and we're now we now know what we're looking for, and we're going to stick to that model.
Thank you so much for that information. I also wanted to clarify, again, I was a student of Simon Sanchez, and it's very much my objective to get this school rebuilt at whatever cost and how fast we can get it done, right? So with that being said, I wanted to clarify the cost increase. Do you have a number or ballpark of what the cost would have been probably if they executed the build in 2015, quote unquote, right, to now what it is with the market so, what do you call it, overly, what's that called? It's just inflated so much, right, with construction costs. So I just wanted to clarify for the people watching that if it was built in 2015, quote unquote, or 2018, it probably would have been at a very cheaper scale, right? But because of the impediments, you know, I'm just trying to eliminate any further impediment and really try to get the school ground broken. I really just want to drive a bulldozer through their front campus already at this point. So if you can clarify that.
Absolutely. You know, when we first built Okadu back in 2006, and that was a 2,000 student campus, 1,500 student campus, we spent maybe 40 million, and then we had to add in an additional wing for another 15 million. So, huh? Yeah, yeah. I think it was the ninth grade academy that came up that, you know, was additional to that building. And so, you know, you're looking at a 2,000 population school that was built for 50 million. JFK was partially rebuilt, but a lot of it was new classrooms that cost us about 64 mil. And then when we first issued this procurement, you know, it was decided to go with the A&E, which took a couple of years and a lot of dollars. And that's where we are now with the estimated cost of about 133 million, with additives if we can. But so you could tell that just within the 10-year gap, we've really almost grown about 60–70% in costs for the same amount of students.
Thank you so much for that information. You know, that's why it's very important and prudent of us to get this groundbreaking done so that we can close the costs, right? And make sure that the cost is no longer on the people of Guam, or the burden is going to be picked up by the people of Guam, so that minimize the cost, maximize the project, right? So do you, Superintendent, I just want to clarify with the student population up in Jigo, are you anticipating the military active duty members to be picked up by Department of Education? And do you feel, because we are reviewing this plan as it is, there may be some changes to the plans that may perhaps cut or increase? Not too sure. Again, it's coming through as it is being reviewed. So I just wanted to clarify on your tracking with DOE, are you seeing a decrease on the local population? And do you feel that DODEA, in your best regard, that DODEA will be able to pick up those students, or do you think they'll start mixing into the local population schools?
Senator, the information I'm working with right now reflects a number of folks that are either second country military that would not be housed on Anderson, or would be civilians that work with the missile defense system. They are also not eligible on U.S. soil to attend DODEA schools. The active duty military folks, of course, will be going there. But so we're trying to build in, given the amount of family housing that's being built in that attendance area, we're trying to allow for an expansion of 200 to 300 students. I'm seeing the projections I'm seeing over the whole island is about 4,000 total, and that's not till FY 27 or 28. Those projections may change, but that's what the information I have at this time.
Certainly, thank you for that information. I understand that the consulate of, or the leadership of Japan is also looking into relocating some of its military members or partners to train here. So if that comes up, that might be another situation to add into our mix, right? So I just wanted to make sure that we're accounting for that, accounting for those bodies if they do, for whatever reason, pop up into our school population. I also think that with $2 billion dumped for an Army base for missile defense operations, I think it's prudent for us to also gauge that number. If there is going to be another Army base being stood up on South Finnegodson, we need to be calculating those numbers as well. Probably estimate another 1,000 or another 4,000, right? We don't know. It's a lot of hearsay. Until there's actually a drop-off on how many people are going to come here, then we'll know. But I just wanted to make sure that's in the mix. Do you think we have any issues that will be coming forward? I mean, we cannot predict the future, but do you guys see that there'll be any issues in this construction management?
No, Senator, but I did want to mention to you and the committee, it's my understanding, at least preliminarily, when we look through the plans and the designs, is that furnishings are not included in this the design and the plans, with the exception, I believe, of the equipment for the cafeteria, of course, the equipment in the gym and things of that nature, but school desks, partitions, administrative offices, I don't believe the furnishings are included, so, you know, we'll work with the GDOE to get that addressed. And then in phase two, if you saw in phase two, that's when they'll start working on the football field and the track. The parking lot is good. I really don't see any major, especially on the environment issues, right? Agricultural issues, as I know historical issues, as I know that area has been previously disturbed, so we really shouldn't have any issues there. I think the issue, and in terms of finding contractors, developers, or consortiums to take a look at this and actually respond to the proposal, I don't see that either. This is going to be a really big project. I think a lot of the companies that are out there, they'll come and take a look at this and respond to the proposal. The key is exactly like you said, and that's why we're trying to do this at a really accelerated pace. We need to get to market as soon as possible. As I've mentioned in many of my testimonies, just with road projects, we're seeing increases of 20 to 30%, you know, on an annual basis, if even less than on an annual basis. And so, you know, I think the good part here is there's no major, really heavy or specific type of equipment to outfit a school. Most of the cost, I think, is going to really be on the building itself.
Thank you so much. And just to clarify again, the destruction and demolition of the old school will be on track with the lease as well.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I don't have anything further for Simon Sanchez discussion, so leaseback is a leaseback. It's going to be paid down eventually, probably before I die, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Swanson, do you have anything to discuss further?
No, sir, not at this time.
Busing scheduling, is that resolved? I believe there were some parents that had some issues with that. Do you have any current
sorry.
issues with the busing operations?
Busing operations right now is because we're running split sessions on two different campuses. We're incurring overtime charges for drivers, but we've built that into our budget.
Okay, thank you so much, Director. I did get some calls regarding the busing operations. I think there was a schedule change. I'm not too sure, but just please be on the lookout on that. I also wanted to clarify the costs associated with the temporary campus. I did introduce legislation, $7 million. I just withdrew the appropriation bill until we get a concrete answer from FEMA. So I understand you have some fruitful information regarding that. If you can elaborate on that, if you feel comfortable. If not, then I guess hold your peace.
Well, we're starting to get claims processed and returned to us. We have for 5 schools, but still not for this one project. As soon as we have the information on that, we'll start into the procurement process, and that'll take a little while. But as soon as we get that guarantee in writing, then we can move forward.
Yes, thank you so much. Prayers for Florida and the community over there. But I hope that our school can, avail for more funding, and we can actually have a concrete answer from FEMA to discuss the temporary campus so that we can eliminate this double sessioning operation, because I know it is very taxing on the staff and faculty of the Simon Sanchez High School, but most especially the nannies, right? Like the baby sharks over there. I want to make sure that we can try to eliminate the double session as soon as possible so that we can also help the bus drivers maintain a little bit of sanity, because I'm pretty sure busing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the kids, right, from one location to another is very also taxing on them. So again, shout out to the teams that are continuing, this operation. Really appreciate all your hard work, and we'll keep you guys posted. And also, please keep my committee posted so we can keep the community advised of any changes. Oh, one more question regarding Simon Sanchez. Can you also ask the construction management to review if we can make the parking lot a LEED certified facility? Make water from the parking lot go into water chamber possibly, and then reuse it into the community, right? Saving money for the government, because DOE is very good at spending, on utilities. I don't know, the power, they keep the aircon on overnight, right? And also we don't want to have water running if it doesn't need to be running. So if we can use the gray water from the parking lot or the rooftop, put solar panels, but also collect water, like our building here, we use the water from the parking lot into the restroom to flush down, general waste. But I think if we can make sure that that's also afforded, if possible, to not cost the government more money, then I think we can also help that situation with the environmental issues, right? So, thank you so much. Okay, Superintendent, you're dismissed, and Gita, you're dismissed. I don't have anything further for you guys. Just get the contract signed faster.
Okay, we'll continue. You asked us to talk about road safety, road improvements. Let's see, I think streetlights and a bunch, so let me just continue with my thing. Next slide. On our planned routed road safety projects, these are projects that we have upcoming, and I'm also going to talk about some that are already completed. So we do plan this fiscal year to continue our island-wide pavement improvements and island-wide striping improvements. We have an IDIQ for both of these issues. Contracts are already in place, so it's just a matter of us sending out task orders, and I'll go through that as we move forward. One of the larger ones is going to be the Route 10 safety improvements, phases 1 and 2. Route 10 is in basically Barragata and Mingilo, that throughway, that highway. Then we have Route 10A. This is basically what we call Airport Road, from Marine Drive to the airport. I'll talk a little bit about that. Route 14, Challenge San Antonio, the resurfacing there, we're just about done with that. Route 14B, of course, is the EPAL reconstruction, the phase 1 portion of it. Route 5, which is down in the Santa Rita area, we reconstructed that and widened that. Route 17, that is coming up for reconstruction and widening. Route 17 is the Cross Island Road. And then we'll talk about the Typhoon Mawar sign, signal, and striping repairs that came about from the typhoon. And then I'll talk a little bit about some of the flood mitigation issues that are the major flood issues that are affecting our island. Next slide, please. Okay, as I mentioned, the pavement improvements for repair and striping will be on Route 2A, Route 8, Route 14, Route 30A, and Route 30T, and I'll go through those individually. Route 2A, if we get the next slide there that shows the Google map there, you can see it. Just follow the cursor. That'll go from the Sumai, the Pizza Hut area right in front of the Naval Station gate, and take it all the way up to Mobile by Route 5. So that's up for pavement repair and striping improvements. Route 8, that's going to take us from the intersection of Route 1 and Route 8 by, let's call it Auto Spot, I guess, right there. That'll take us up to Mighty, all the way up to the entrance of Tijan, right by Cars Plus. And no, I'm not receiving anything from these companies that I'm mentioning. They're just landmarks.
Thank you for clarifying that for the record. Of course, we have some colleagues who think there's special interest here, so I just wanted to make sure that's noted, right? Thank you.
They're just landmarks. Route 14A, this is from the JFK High School to the former Pacific Star Hotel, or if you will, the Kmart traffic signal, that road going all the way down. That's going to receive some repair and striping improvements also. That's known as Route 14A. Route 20A, this is the Fahrenholt Road into Mooning. This will go from basically the corner of St. Anthony's School and Sagua Maniaga or something like that, all the way to the Riga Hotel. We'll get that fixed up. That's been now that we completed Route 14, yes, Challenge San Antonio. Yeah, it's only fair that we finish that connection from, of Fahrenholt Avenue, which is Route 30A. And then Route 32, this is from Shell Mangilo to the University of Guam. This is the University of Guam entrance, the road leading to University of Guam. Yeah. We'll help out our brothers at ULG.
Just to clarify, that's Shell Manguilao to,
Inside, the road leading to the university.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's just that access road, not
Right.
towards McDonald's? Not towards McDonald's?
No, no.
Okay, because the road from the veterans, I forgot what it's called, the veterans, little Coban there on that
Oh,
corner.
yes, yeah.
It's like we're taking off for the airplane, right? I don't know why the road's like that. Is there any,
That's
Proposed
coming
pro-
up.
okay, thank
That's
you.
in my, you'll see that. Okay, striping. I know everyone's been talking to us about striping, when and where, and we've got a number of striping improvements that'll take place this fiscal year. The first one up for striping is going to be from Route 11, which is the entrance to the Port Authority of Guam, to Adelup. That's basically PD and Assen and Adelup. We're going to do some major safety improvements there, striping, marking, crosswalks as needed, lane lines, and so on and so forth. So that's going to be a really good project, and that will just add up to what we did in Sumai.
since you're on that area, I don't know if we're gonna be addressing the Deadman's Curve in a later.
That's
Okay.
later on, yes. Yeah,
Noted, thank you.
yeah. You're going to like my suggestion there, Senator. Okay, and you'll see that's, again, the Google Earth map there will show the route. It's on Route 1, and it'll go from Route 11, intersection of Route 11 and 1, all the way to Adelup. The other set of striping improvements that we plan to do is going to be on Route 1 again, from Route 27 to Anderson the front gate of Anderson Air Force Base. This is going to be the same thing, basically replacing the striping and raised pavement markers. This is going to be from the old flea market in Dedido, all the way to the front gate. So basically, all of Dedido and all of Jigo. The 3 lanes in one area, and rather 6 lanes in one area in Dedido, and then 4 lanes all the way up to Jigo. And you can see that on the map. You'll see the cursor there from the old flea market all the way to the front gate of Anderson. Route 10, Manilo safety improvements. This is a really big project. This is what you were just talking about earlier. This is going to take us from the intersection of Route 4 and 10, which is up in the Chalampago, the Pago Bay top, all the way to the tri-intersection. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to do a friction course overlay for the entire roadway. It'll, of course, when we're done, it'll include striping, signage, signals, raised medians, curbs as needed, pedestrian crossings. I believe this calls for a new signal light also in front of the Payless and KFC intersection in that area there. New guardrails will also be included, and as well as drainage improvements, especially in the ULG intersection there. This is actually in the bid process, so I can't talk really much. I can't mention any numbers. Bid opening is scheduled for October 15th, and I don't believe we shouldn't have an extension on this, as we may have extended it once already, but I think we should get some pretty good proposals turned in. This is estimated at an 18-month construction period. And you can see the Google map from the tri-intersection all the way up to the Pago Bay portion. The Route 10A reconstruction and widening. This is better known as Airport Road, from Airport Road, from the airport down to Marine Drive. Yes, so this is a complete reconstruction and widening. Currently, there are 2 lanes, I believe. We're going to widen it from 2 to 4. 4 lanes with, I believe, a middle lane and a sidewalk on, I believe, only one side because of property restrictions there. But it'll have raised medians, shared bike lanes with the travel lane. And I'm happy to report, I may have mentioned this earlier, we applied for a raise grant, and we were awarded a raise grant to fund this. So if you turn in from Marine Drive toward the airport, from that point, that'll be reconstructed all the way up just past the airport proper, all the way up to the airport's their last traffic signal to the entrance of the airport. That's phase 1. Phase 2 will take it from that ending point, the exit when you exit the airport. Phase 2 will take it from there all the way to the overpass. That is still in design, but we're going to accelerate that as well, because as I mentioned, the more we wait, the more the costs escalate, and we just can't, especially when we don't have enough funding from our federal grant itself. But I can tell you, Senator, we are out chasing grants as much as we can, and doing what we can to get the roads fixed and paved and much improved. I'll just go through some of our completed projects. Those you pretty much know already. The Route 14 resurfacing. Route 14 is known as Challenge San Antonio. That's all resurfaced and restriped. We're about ready to close that project out. That eventually came out to $14 million in construction value. And mind you, that's only for construction. That's not for design or construction management. That's strictly for construction. That was a very efficient project, if you will. I'm very happy that it turned out the way it did. With very minimal, I believe, very minimal disruption to a lot of the businesses there. And it included a modernization and redirection, if you will, of the roundabout up on the top. So I think, I haven't heard whether we've had any traffic accidents. I don't believe we have. It's pretty self-explanatory once you enter that roundabout. And those that are new, what we've seen, those that are new to the roundabout, you can tell they're really taking it slow because there's a new way to go about it, proper way to go about it. 14B reconstruction. 14B is known as the EPAL Road. We did phase 1, which takes it from the Seventh-day Adventist Clinic down to the front of the intersection of the Hilton Hotel. That's just about done. We're about to close that project up. That was widened, I think, from 10 feet lanes to, I think the lanes are about 14-foot lanes. So it's very safe. It's very wide. Sidewalks, the guardrails just got put up about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The traffic lights, the street lights are up as well. I think we're just waiting for a final connection from GPA, and we should get those turned on and everything. But it's a very safe road. Construction on that went up. We had a little bit of a change order because of some of the base course, if you will, on the previous road. So the final construction value ended up at $11 million for that. You can see some pictures there of them paving it. A little bit over on the construction time. Route 5, that's the one down in Santa Rita, from Mobile to the Cross Island Road. That's all finished and done. We're about ready to close out that project. That was a complete rehabilitation, reconstruction, and widening that included shoulders, paved shoulders of about 4, if not 5 feet. That was the whole bit. Striping, signage, paved shoulders, as I mentioned, and guardrails as needed. We are having a little bit of some drainage issues from the stormwater that's coming from basically all of Route 5. It's coming down from Naval Mag, if you will. We're trying to address that, and we won't close the project until we address and mitigate the flooding there. Total construction value for that was at 13 mil. A new project that we're looking at is Route 17, total reconstruction and widening. This consists of 5 miles of Route 17. This is going to take us from Baza Gardens. If you notice, when you come into Route 17 from the Toxa side, right, the road's really nice and smooth, but it ends at Baza Gardens. So we're going to finish up the project from Baza Gardens and go all the way to Route 5. This will connect with Route 5, the one I just mentioned. So there's a lot of safety improvements to include drainage, striping, signage, paved shoulders, rumble strips in some areas to slow down some of the traffic there. One of the things that we're definitely going to do is, I believe that is 80 foot or 100 easement, the width. I think 80, right? 100? Yeah, so it's Route 17 actually is a 100-foot easement in most of the areas. So what we plan to do is part of the contract is we will clear and grade the entire easement. So while the road might be in the middle, you'll have a lot of shoulder road, a lot of grass area, a little bit more to maintain, but it'll give you a sense that the road is safer and it's wider. That's one of the safety things that we do. We don't have an estimate for this. What we plan to do is we plan to issue a Garvey bond for this with the help of GITA. We will issue a bond, and the payback for that will be a portion of our federal grant. So we're working on this, and I'd like to get this done by next year, by summer. Part of this also, Senator, the Route 17 reconstruction, is we plan to put in a drive-in, if you will, parking lot by the Tarzan Falls area. And this is just because there's a lot of folks that visit Tarzan Falls. They come out, the mud gets all over the road, it becomes slippery again. So we want to do like a turn-in parking lot similar to what's in front of Talafofo Falls, Talafofo Bay. Talafofo Bay, yeah. So you can just go in, park, and then go do your thing at the falls and then come back out. And it makes for much safer transportation in that area. There's a design of that. You can see the yellow portion. That would be the drive-in parking. Next, I'd like to talk, Senator, about the road signage repairs from Typhoon Mawar. We have over 1,800 damaged or missing signs that happened before, during, and after the typhoon. We've got the funding for that from FHWA. They've graciously agreed to fund the construction, the replacement of these signs. So we should get that out shortly, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have a contract out in place, if not by summer. In terms of our secondary road improvements, I have there's a table there, if you can see. This is what we plan for starting this year. A good number of them are in Agate, Santa Rita, and I believe Dededo, Talafofo, and Maleso. So there's going to be a lot of road work down south. We just finished a lot of village road work up in Dededo, and a lot in Jigo. We did earlier this year, earlier fiscal year, we did a lot of the central part, like in Tamuning and Barragata. So if you notice, when we do paving in the villages, we try to stay in one village for economies of scale and movement of equipment and staff. So that's basically our look ahead for the village streets. We're going to be in Agate, Santa Rita, Inalahan, and Maleso. Okay, here's our favorite, Deadman's Curve. As I mentioned earlier, that's going to be part of the restriping and marking from Port Authority of Guam all the way to Adelit. Deadman's Curve falls in that area. We'll do the restriping, we'll do the marking. As you know, we put up the plastic candlesticks that have been, I'd say maybe 20%. We've lost 20%, if not 25%, and that's fine. We expected it. We're trying to ramp up the division, so to speak, and we started with the plastic barriers. It was my, I guess, my wishful thinking that they would last, but you know, drivers are drivers, right? I think we need to ramp it up and escalate it to maybe a second level, if not a third level. So what we plan to do is we plan to take out those plastic lane dividers. We will replace them with concrete barriers, lane barriers. They're about 10, if not 12 feet long, and they will run connected the whole 1,000 feet from the start, little bit starting at the Deadman's Curve all the way to the end. That will be in conjunction with the lane striping and marking. On top of that, we plan to do rumble strips. Those are going to be like similar to the half moons, the raised pavement markers. If anybody goes to the Honolulu airport, you'll see it approaching the airport. So we're going to have that as well. And hopefully, we know that will slow down the traffic. I'm going to go out on a limb, Senator. If that doesn't work, I'm going to go out on a limb and just suggest that perhaps in this special area, Deadman's Curve, and we know, I believe, in construction zones, we have to take a look at the fines and the fees for speeding. I don't believe we have special fines and fees for speeding in construction zones. I have to double check that again. You know, we just finished that major construction on Route 16 for the Ukadu gas lines, right? People were flying by as if there's no construction. And really, when you have construction, the construction folks that are there, they're heavy equipment, you have warm bodies out there, they're at a high risk. We just had a grass mowing crew down in Sumai earlier this week. They were cutting the medians, and an individual ran into one of the trucks there. You know, lights blinking and everything. Cones that were out there, but they stay. That's considered a construction crew. So we really need to do something to slow them down. I was going to suggest, perhaps, if the lane dividers, the jersey barriers, and the rumble strips, if they don't work, or even in conjunction, I would suggest something like a much higher speeding ticket fine, maybe for cars and trucks, personal cars and trucks, vehicles. Speeding in that area would get you a $500 fine. For commercial vehicles, because from what I understand, and this is just, I don't have any proof, but people are just telling me that travel that area, it's a lot of the folks hitting the plastic barriers are the tractor trailers, you know, because they're just wide, and they're probably, I'm assuming they're probably traveling at a higher rate of speed than the 25 speed limit. If you really travel the speed limit there, which is 25, there's no way you're going to get into an accident. There just isn't, unless you really fall asleep and you cross the lane or whatever. So what I would suggest is, like, for cars and personal passenger vehicles, and we'll look into it, a fine of $500 for speeding in that area, and for commercial vehicles, a fine of upwards of to maybe $1,000 for speeding in that area. I know I'll probably get hit for it, but if we're really out to save lives and property, it's a way, it's a manner of changing people's habits. We're just at the end. I want to talk a little bit about what our Office of Highway Safety is doing. You wanted us to discuss some of our safety issues. You know, we do a lot of highway safety education. We do it at the Agano Shopping Center. We do traffic safety checks. Whenever you see those radar individuals out from Guam Police Department or the traffic checkpoints in the evening, that's our crew. That's our Office of Highway Safety Division, and I'd like to acknowledge them. They're sitting right behind me. Erica and Camille, thank you very much. Then what we look to do also, we found that this helps quite a bit, is we look to procure additional electronic speed signs and set them up more. You've seen them; they're all over the states. We had two. One got damaged by the typhoon, so we look to procure with the grants that we have a few more of these machines and post them at certain areas throughout the island. Like I mentioned, we do outreach at island schools. We teach kids about click it or ticket. We teach them pedestrian safety. We teach them about bicycle safety, and we teach them about maybe it's not the best thing at schools. What is it? The baby carriers. I don't know if you want to teach that at schools. I don't know if we do, but definitely seatbelt buckles. We do that in the schools. So we teach seat belts, we teach pedestrian, we teach speeding, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's quite a bit of education. For the final slides, I just wanted to talk to you about our major flooding areas. You know, a lot of the floods we've been able to avoid, unlike in previous years. We know from our experience that if we do the maintenance, the floods will not be as severe as they have been in the past. And the first one here that you see is Polaris Point flooding. Knock on wood. When I first came in, we literally had all 4 lanes closed. We haven't had that because we're doing some maintenance. But we are looking to do a grant application. We've got some grant applications out there. We want to do some more in-depth study for Polaris to perhaps slow down the water flow from the mountains before it reaches the Polaris Point Route 2 area. The flooding in Meleso, that's perennial. That's around the Manel Channel, the Barcenas area. Army Corps, we've got the assistance of Army Corps to do a study again, to study the amount of the water flow and solutions to this, which basically is we take the water and we make it go straight out to the ocean. So it's going to require some land acquisition and a design to accept the amount of water that's coming from the mountains there. Those are just some of the pictures that we do when we go down there. During rainy season, we probably spend an average in that Barcenas area. We probably spend on an annual basis maybe 30 to 45 full days down there, just maintaining it, and then response time. Village streetlights, there's a table there. As a result of GPA going from, what's the term? They've switched to LED lights. We've been able to put up probably an additional 5,000 streetlights from what we had. I know when I initially started, we had like about 14 to 15,000. I think we're up to like 20,000 now. So thank you for the, there's a direct appropriation for the streetlights, and that's plentiful. I think that's all I have. On behalf of our employees and staff at Public Works, we thank you very much, and we look forward to your continued support, Senator.
Certainly, you guys have my support. I know you guys are very hardworking, and I love my photo op here. Thank you. Extra credit. Okay, so bus stops seem to be a prevalent issue in our community, right? We have some students that are standing under canopies for, I guess, their temporary shelter. There's some in Barragata. I believe there's also some in MTM. There's also a couple in Jigo. So can you tell me what the impediments are? I understand that.
Yeah, about, was it last year? I think we exhausted all the school bus shelters that we constructed. So yeah, we've got to do another batch. We found that it works very well. It's strong. It lasted. We didn't get any damage from Walmart. So we're going to use the same design, the same materials, and we'll get them out. Yeah, we've got a new fiscal year, so we should be able to grab some of the money early. If we can do another 25 or 30 this fiscal year. And like you mentioned earlier, Senator, we work very well with the schools and the mayors to place them. So if I remember correctly, that was self-constructed, right? We constructed it ourselves. So we've got the crew to do it. Last I saw, I think for each bus stop, I think at one point it was probably less than 2,000. But I think with the materials going up, we're probably looking at about 3,000 per bus shelter.
What do you think the lifespan of those design bus stops are right now?
You know, if there's no typhoon, those things could last quite a bit. We use treated wood, we use cement board, and we use galvanized roof tin. So, and we use screws. So the design itself is really, it's not going to get termited. It's not going to rust. So, absent a 200 mile per hour typhoon, they should last fairly long.
Thank you. Okay, EPOW traffic light, because there's so many accidents there was like a 2-car collision just Monday, and then on Tuesday there was a 3-car collision.
EPOW?
EPOW Point, EPOW Point, EPOW Estates, coming out, the new SCAG's training facility, right when you're passing Guam Home Center on the right side.
Okay.
There's the big housing development, Paradise Estates, EPOW Estates. So, it's been brought to my attention a couple of times.
We'll take a look at the signal.
Yeah.
I don't recall getting any issues. Is it off? It can be off because we would know about it.
No, it's not off. There's no traffic light. But I think we need to look at putting a traffic light there.
Okay.
Because of the traffic jams always being prevalent there, and it's really accident central. It's literally right there at the entrance. There's
Is this
always
the one
an
going to
accident.
the golf course?
No, the golf course is another like 500 feet forward.
North?
South.
So it's the intersection past Guam Home Center.
Correct.
Okay.
And then if you're coming southbound
EPOW.
from Wistig Road, it'll be your immediate right.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Okay, one big issue we have on the roads is accidents, right? What or who is responsible for the debris left by these accidents, right? We have plenty tow trucks very fast to respond to the site, but Lanya, they leave the debris on site too.
Yes.
They take the main car because they can get claims, I guess, on it, but they leave the bumper sometimes, and it's like, come on. You
Right.
cannot see the bumper on the middle of the island?
Yes.
So, it's...
Typically, they can certainly do a better job, but because the road and the easements are our asset, DPW's asset, we get called, and we direct our crew to go out there and clean up. So our trucks go out there, we have brooms, we have shovels, and we basically take everything and put them in our yard for disposition. But we try to work as close as possible with GPD. I can already feel Erica behind me taking notes that'll go to her Highway Patrol Division to let us know if cleanup is needed. And I get it. I've seen some of it. Some of them don't need cleanup, but most of them probably do.
Yeah, and I don't know who has the fuel dumper sand, but they dumped the sand for the fuel. They collected the fuel on the road, but they didn't take the sand.
Okay.
So, whoever dumped that, fuel collecting sand, it's really good. You're trying to prevent it from getting in the
Right.
environment, but you left it there, so I don't know where it's gonna go. Go back to the environment.
I'm not sure. I think my recollection would be that the sand is there to absorb it, right? And somehow it dissipates and just gets absorbed into either the side of the road. I don't believe we can check what the protocol is, but I don't believe we're supposed to go back and pick it up, but we can check.
Okay, we stated earlier that the roads and is the government's property and it's an asset, right, for you guys. So I wanted to clarify, when these guys get into accidents and they hit a power pole, GPA replaces it at cost, or is it the insurance that pays for it?
Similar to a car hitting a pole, if a car hits our guardrail, we go after them.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that, because even the airport, I don't know how many times they keep replacing the fence line there, but
Yeah.
yeah. I just wanted to find out if you guys could claim against that, because, there's
Yes,
a
we
lot
do.
of times there's
Yeah.
accidents and they hit the rail. Um, overpass lighting. The overpass, well, it's not the overpass, but the underpass.
Yes.
It's like honking
We will
honking
take care
city,
of
but
that
there's
this
no
year.
lighting in there.
That's on my to-do list.
Okay.
I go home there every evening, and we will take care of that.
Okay, another one is the airport is quite awkward. I don't know if if you guys are gonna be projecting, renovations or, what do you call it? The repavement of the airport area. I don't know if you can figure out some way to make that traffic flow forward a little bit better, but it's kind of
Oh, yeah,
awkward.
no, it'll include signalization and synchronization, right?
Another issue is people running red lights. I don't know if there's something you would recommend to that effect. It's a big issue, right? We also have people that don't recognize fire trucks, even though they're so big and bright. I don't know. People just keep sitting in the traffic light. Also, ambulances. I don't know what we're waiting for. There's a lot of times where we see people just sitting ducks in the traffic, right? And they should be able to yield, but they just choose not to. So do you have any recommendations regarding that? I am looking at the DRT's training classes, but any recommendations from your side?
Yeah, Senator, I'm already on record. Everyone teases me that I'm on record that Guam has crummy drivers, quote unquote. Speeding is a big issue in Guam. Running red lights is a really big issue because of the traffic problems. I think the resolution there, no different than any other jurisdiction, is enforcement and fines. If people know that there's a police officer there or waiting up the street and you're about to get a $500 fine for running the red, then they're going to think twice. But similar to what I mentioned earlier about Deadman's Curve fines or construction fines, we'll take a look at it and offer suggestions, because money talks. You hit someone's pocketbook and they will remember. And again, we're trying to adjust people, how they think, how they act, and how they respond. So it's a tough cookie to handle, especially when I just got the latest number. There are 114, if not 115, registered vehicles on Guam. 115,000. That's a lot.
It is
And
a
if you
lot.
saw the traffic last night in the rain going to Dedido and Chico, that was pretty scary.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out DRT's issues with license plates, because I think that's still an issue, right? If you're not getting these licenses out to the customers, we're going to have people like me who still have a police report that's not worth anything because I cannot claim it because the person that hit me had a temporary license plate, and although I had footage, it's not claimable. Yeah, so either I pay for it myself or, it's not fair, but life goes on. The bridge in Humatec and then in Lahan seems to be having a disconnection point already. It's like getting pushed off by the water. Also, the one in front of Magellan's Landing store seems like it's gonna be on its last leg soon. So I would recommend that we look into that. But the Inalahan exit point of Umatec into Inalahan, or Malesu to Inalahan,
Yes.
I guess, where there's a Galidi on the left side.
The Hudson Bridge.
Yeah, it's already like inch
Yes.
by inch gapping out, right?
Yeah,
So-
we have that up for repair, replacement.
No, not
No,
next to the
this
sewer
is a
station.
Hudson Bridge.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the flat area where the preserve is.
Yeah, this is from
Okay.
replacement? Okay.
Okay, thank you. The signage, I understand that it's gonna get replaced, right, in time, hopefully sooner than later, but there's a lot of stub outs that are, I guess the male to the female part, right? It's just out and it's in the walkway.
Oh,
So
okay.
is there
Right
any
in the
way you
sidewalk.
guys can like mark that with something permanent, use lead paint? I don't know, because I think we're putting ourselves on a liability, and I think the environmental issue with lead paint is better, because if someone hurts themselves like riding a bike or they pop their tire on it, it's going to be a bigger issue for us, right? And you're coming up towards 76 airport from Machechi, right? There's a little,
The sleeves.
yeah, the sleeve there that's sticking out. And, you know, one day we might just like run it over and
Okay.
pop the tire.
We've handled a couple of those down in
Okay.
Tumon. I think a couple even here in Agana. Yes. Yeah. And Tamuning,
Oh,
yeah.
since you brought up Agana, we're still missing 2 stop signs over here. I don't know, the people are still just keep going.
Right here?
Oh, right here. There was 2 stop signs, but it went missing.
Unless they took it again.
Uh,
We'll check it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can take, I don't know what they did with it, but they took it. So, unfortunately, how much do those speed signs cost?
The
ones
speed
that
limit
blink,
signs?
yeah, the speed limit signs. I think those are working a little bit.
I think about 6 grand, 7 grand? 6 to 7 grand. And we're looking to get the ones that we have now, while they're fine, they work. I've seen some that are much, much larger, so that's the one we're gonna get. So it might run 15 to 20 grand a piece. Just depends on the source.
Okay, thank you. Also, to the drivers, right? Texting and driving. Maybe Highway can answer this. Do you guys see it as? Are you guys tracking any statistics or data on that? Because man, these people they just keep driving with texting and driving, and they're also their babies are just in the passenger seat, even though there's no one in their back seat. So I don't know if you guys can collect data on that, and we can probably push legislation out to increase fines and fees, and maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure unless you're really right there next to them, and you see them that you can actually find them or cite them. So we'll work with our Office of Highway Safety and see what are some of the new, if you will, innovative ways to catch them while they're texting. Because again, there has to be a certain way to ensure that when you take the case to court, you have adequate evidence that they're guilty of texting while driving. So, well, we'll work with the Office of Highway Safety, GPD, and our counterparts in the U.S. to see what are some of the latest advances, if you will.
Yes, thank you. I also wanted to look at if you guys ever looked at solar lighted rumble, I guess, the markers on the road, if they're solar lighted, because in the Philippines the highway is lit with these solar lit
Especially like I've seen some like
Yeah.
in the intersections, you see them blue.
usually green and red. The
Yeah.
green you keep going, and white is like the white line, but green and red is supposed to be like
I'd
go
have
and
to
don't
check
go.
that. Yeah, especially on our routed roads, on all our roads, we follow the MUTCD. Are we under municipal? There you go, Manual for Uniform Transportation. It's a standard. And we follow the standard for all the different lights and everything. But we'll see if that's part of that standard.
Okay. One more question, I guess that highway can probably help us navigate is traffic cameras. I think we can make plenty of money for highway if we put traffic cameras up.
I think we're still researching that, Senator, and I think I may have mentioned that at the last one. What we've noticed, and Erica or Camille, you can chime in here. What we've noticed that a larger number of states are no longer relying on cameras. In other words, the cases are being thrown out of court. That's my reading. So in other words, I guess what they're resorting to is, if you're going to cite someone for running a red light, you have to be there. There has to be an officer, a law enforcement officer, and so on and so forth. So what we might consider, Senator, is something called, God, I just forget it. The blue light, it's called cheating or something? It's called tattletale. Yeah, so you have you're looking at the traffic signal, red, yellow, green, and on the side of it is a blue light. The blue light is connected to the red. And so if you're going this way toward the red and it turns red, the blue light turns on. And if you run it, there's a law enforcement officer, there's a policeman up by, let's say, the venue. And he sees you, the blue light turns on, he looks at the car, he pulls you over. But that, again, is going to require manpower.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to cut costs with doing the camera, but okay, cancel that then. Drinking and smoking in government vehicles.
Oh gosh, I hope we're not doing that.
I don't know if we can create a fine or a fee schedule for that, because I think some people think it's fine to smoke and even vape in the government official. Also tinting. I thought government officials aren't supposed to be tinted. I have blackout tint on my
I don't know
truck,
if
and
we
I
have
know
any-
that some
I don't-
government officials have that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any rules or anything of smoking in government vehicles. I know in government or public or private buildings, there's already a law on it. We could certainly take a look at that.
Okay, so what if they're drinking in the official? Should we condemn the vehicle back to the government? I mean, it belongs to the government, but how do we discipline the employees? Do you have any
If they're
recommendations?
drinking, I think I can dismiss them. Yeah, we can dismiss them on something like that.
Okay, I
Sure.
just wanted to clarify that. How about smoking? Can you dismiss them?
I'm sorry?
The smokers?
Smoking, I don't,
We have a protocol that there's no smoking in the vehicles.
yeah.
It's internal.
Yeah, so we have an internal protocol that there's no smoking in our vehicles. Is that just Public Works?
As far
Let me
as
check that, well, if that needs to be government-wide.
Okay, thank you. Finally, I know I've kept you for a while, and I think it took all my colleagues' time, but DOD at one point said that they were, I think it was a part of the environmental study, that they were interested in military access roads. Isn't the PD strip on a military access road as well? Do you know?
Which portion there?
The military access road. So basically, it's a vital road for them to move logistics and whatnot. So my understanding when I was briefed with them is that PD was a part of their operative goal to get it resurfaced and repaved and help manage as well.
That may be correct, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing the rehabilitation of Route 1 from Naval Station all the way to Camp Blas, and that's going to be funded by DOD.
Okay, great. That's good news.
So that'll re-strengthen, revive, re-strengthen, reconstruct the outer lanes on both directions, north and south, east and west, from Camp Blas to the Naval Station and back. And it'll also include the replacement of 5 bridges. So that's a big huge project. That'll be our largest construction project once that starts.
Okay, thank you. And I think that's also inclusive probably of back road, Andy North or Andy South?
The back road, that just got on our radar this year. Once they started ramping up their additional capabilities here, the military, especially with the new missile defense system coming on board.
Okay, for my last question, the traffic light, the street lights, are we 100% usage right now with all the funding source right now, or?
I'd have to get back to you, because before we have any new streetlights installed, we project what our budget is. So we're not there yet, and once we reach that, we'll let you know.
Okay, so
But we've got 20,000 streetlights out already.
okay, let's put another 20,000, max out the account. There's a lot of people that want more lights out there,
That's
put more
true.
lights. So I think if we have the funding right now, use it, exhaust it as much as possible, put a street light back to rate. So on the, one more, not a question, but the whole right side going up from Guam Home Center all the way to Jigo Fire Station, there's no lights on the right side for whatever reason. It's only on the left side, but don't worry, I'm already working with GPA. I work there part-time too, because I take picture and video the whole road until they fix it, and I keep calling them. So, I'm a whistleblower too.
I'll have our staff go out there.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out if that's just because that's a military line that they don't have streetlights on it, or,
They might not need additional poles on that side, because the power poles they're already taken. They already have their lines.
oh no, the power pole's there, it's just there's no streetlight on the right side. So I was just wondering,
But there's
balance
po-
like 1, 2,
But
1,
there's
2,
power
1, 2.
poles?
Yeah. Only on the left side. When you're going northbound towards Wistig Road, you'll notice that only on the left side there's street lights, but on the right side there's nothing. So I was just trying to, counter it,
Yeah. I'll have our staff look at that, yeah.
Okay.
Because we can certainly afford it.
Yes, you can afford it, so spend it. Other than that, I don't have any more further questions. If there's nothing else you want to point out to me, if there's any oversight issues I should look at or laws that you guys recommend, please reach out to my office. If there are no further discussions, the committee appreciates your participation in today's informational hearing. I commend you all today for your hard work and your participation and contributions to this critical work. I urge you to continue to be safe, and your invaluable insights we appreciate. So at this time, it is currently 3:36 p.m. That concludes today's informational hearing. We are adjourned. Take care. God bless, and Suzo Smasi Tanlu.